champions are broken. We're like, huh. He's like, people look at champions and try and find something that champion has that they don't have. He's like, but it's not that at all. He's like, they lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. And at the end of the day, like, if we're optimizing for outcomes, then the most broken person will win. The person who has the absolute biggest, desire for achievement, the absolute biggest fear or pain that they're running away from. And that's what's painful, is that it takes more effort to start in the beginning, and more people are right about the fact, they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still fucking right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be fucking right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong, because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades. Every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And then you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because like in the Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be. If I would say, hey, how would you if you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life.
Yeah.
What would you put them through to make them patient? Well, you probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like, we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. And it's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframe the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, as the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people will be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times. What would you do if you weren't afraid? And I love thinking about that when I'm thinking about big life decisions. Like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And it's usually like the big one, the bigger thing that I really want to do, but I'm afraid to do it. It's like, that's what I should do. And to your point about, the 5 things that you told your team, the one that we have is, originally it was something that we called 1 of 1, which is make only things that we can make. Most people's definition of work is a negative one, which is why they abhor it, which is also why they misunderstand so many people who I'll say quote here, are successful or ahead of them or whatever, is that both people, one person says the word work and the other person hears the word pain. And so the first step to like becoming more successful is understanding the language that the people who are successful are using. They're actually defining the word differently. And so whatever that thing is that you actually enjoy doing, where you lose track of time when you're in it, even if it's challenging, but usually it is challenging, right? Like it's not easy because then it's boring, right? Which is also why the uncertainty thing is so key, right? To not knowing if it's gonna work or not. You are gonna work though, either way. Is that the people who are quote addicted to work make it easy to be addicted to work because they do things worth doing. And I think a lot of it is coming down to making sure that you take the few precious seconds that we have to do the few things that are worth doing for the rest of your life. It won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are, but you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But at the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship, it's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time. because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you. You don't have the resources to go like get someone no one can learn it for you. It's like there's a lot of the things that we care about a lot. Like no one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, like it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you. And then you're like, fuck, it's me again. What are we optimizing for? What problem are we solving? It's my favorite. It's probably the number one most frequently asked question that I ask to our portfolio companies whenever we're about to do anything, which is what problem are we solving? If the problem that we're solving is that I want to be content, well, there's a lot of ways to do that. You don't need to do all these other things. If the problem you're solving is that you want to be the richest man in the world, well, you're going to have a lot of superiority complex. You're going to have a lot of crippling insecurity, and you're going to have a lot of impulse control, and you're going to have to wait a long time. Every hardship that you encounter, if you reframe it as the story that you will someday tell to yourself of the person that you've become based on the dragons you've slain and the obstacles you've overcome, then I think that makes those obstacles a unique opportunity for self-improvement, because we can be grateful for these things. I think Jocko has a whole bit on this where whenever something bad happens, he says good. And I think it's a great trained response, because if something bad happens, my trained response isn't good. It's, I will tell this story someday. And so I think if you have that frame, then everything serves you. Because if something good happens, cool. If something bad happens, it'll be a story that I will someday tell. Because it assumes that you will live through it. And it assumes that you will eventually figure it out. And so then you can't lose, as long as you don't quit. There's a teacher and he's got 2 classes that he teaches. And one class, he says, the only assignment for this whole semester is that you come back with the perfect clay pot. That's it. That's the assignment. The other class, he says, your objective is to make the most total quantity of clay pots, and you'll be measured by how many pots you make. And at the end of the quarter, the pots that came from the team that had to just make sheer volume, not only did they make more pots, but the quality of all of their pots was better compared to the teams that only had to make one. And it just underlines the biggest lesson that I've learned in my life, which is that volume negates luck, is that you can try to be lucky and pick the one perfect thing and try and make it, but if you don't want to try and be lucky, you can just do so much fucking work that you will brute force your way to figuring it out. Like if you do 1,000 podcasts, you'll be pretty fucking good at podcasts.
To make yourself feel better about why your product isn't as good as it should be, but you have an excuse that only you need to believe. And you believe that excuse, so it excuses you from working harder on the stuff you know you should be doing but aren't. And that work, the work you know you should be doing but aren't, is the opportunity, because that is the work that your competitors also aren't doing. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're counting their fucking notifications because they can't stick with shit. They can't say no.
This is a Cybertruck. This is 100 grand. And somebody watching this video right now is going to one of those 2 in the next 30 days. In fact, last month, Keytron won. Which one did you win?
Cybertruck.
Was it worth it?
Yeah, sure.
And he did it by building a community that helped people fix their credits and got to $132,000 in his first try. And listen, that was amazing for Keytron, but let me tell you about the other top 10 people that were here with me. And so here they are on the leaderboard, and here they are in real person. And so Adnan got to 27,000, Benit 40,000, Ryan got to 44, Ted got to 48, Max 40, Anthony 101, Javon, Salah, Kevin 123, Vic 48, Devin 37. And so listen, I could keep talking about this, but you might be wondering, what's Skool? How does it work? Well, let me explain. So Skool's an online platform for building a group online about whatever you want. It's easy, and sure, everyone says that, but how easy? Well, right now, 1 out of 2 people who start a community online make money. Yes, 54.1%. And the reason that we have such a high success rate is because we spent hundreds of hours studying thousands of successful groups to figure out exactly what they did to make money. And then we broke it down into a step-by-step recipe for making money. Doesn't that smell good? And so we boiled it into do this X times per day and do this Y times per week. And it works. It works so well that right now the average paid community makes $1,360 per month in recurring revenue, which is pretty sweet. So no, it won't make you into a billionaire, but it will help you get started. And you can keep scaling all the way up like the 10 people that I was just showing you earlier. And on top of that, we built everything that you need to run a paid group on Skool already. So no, you won't need to start a Stripe account. No, you won't need to build a website. No, you won't need to have any inventory. And you won't have to hire anyone new. No thanks, guys. We're good. Skool works out of the box. Ta-da! It's that easy. We built it that works the same way as social media, so you don't need to learn anything new. All right, there's not even a single piece of technology that you figure out. You just log in and you can collect money in minutes, literally. And if you're just starting out, here's you. You're literally who we built Skool for. So remember those crazy people that I showed you over there? Say hello. They did this last month, and if they can do it, so can you. This is built for people who are brand new to business or brand new to online business. And if you're wondering, well, do I need to have an audience? No, half of those guys didn't have an organic audience. And these guys are the winners. So no, we'll show you where and how people are getting their first customers absolutely free. Follow me. Listen, if you don't believe me, think about it like this. If we get 1 out of 2 paid communities to make money, most people don't have organic audiences. So we had to figure it out or no one would stay on Skool, but we have. And that's why we have tens of thousands of groups on Skool right now. And as much as I'd like to think people love me, people stay because they make money. And we'll show you exactly how they did it. And also, just to make sure you don't get stuck on any step, I answer questions every single week. I hop on calls. And so if you want to hop on there live, we usually have 200 or 300 people who hop on those calls. So it's not huge. And so now's the best time to get started. So if that sounds at all interesting, the best part is you can start a community of your own absolutely free. Just click the yellow button below this video, enter your details to start your absolutely free trial. Worst case, start for free, you decide to quit, and then you can take all the training that other people charge thousands of dollars for with you for free. Again, that's the worst case. Best case, you take a zero risk move and build an online business that could change your life forever. And to be clear, I'm not asking you to decide yes or no today. I'm asking you to make an informed decision. That's it. And the only way you can do that is on the inside, not on the outside. So get inside and see if everything that we say is true and valuable to you. Then if it is, in 2 weeks is when you can actually decide for real. And if you get in and decide it's not for you, no sweat. But you can't truly make an informed decision right now for the same reason you don't buy a house without looking inside of it first, or test drive a car before buying it. So this is a guaranteed risk-free test drive. And listen, whether it's 13 minutes or 13 days from now, if you decide that it's not for you for any reason whatsoever, all you have to do is go to your profile and click cancel. That's it, 1 click. And the only reason you can make an offer that strong is because you're confident that what you have is the real deal. And I'm fairly confident that when you sign up by hitting the button below, you're getting exactly what you need to start your online business. So you might as well give it a shot. The only other guarantee is that if you don't take this shot, you'll stay right where you are right now. But if you take action, you could be the next one coming out to Vegas celebrating how quickly you built an online business with consistent monthly recurring revenue and driving away in a Cybertruck or with 100 grand in cash in your pocket. Pretty neat. So click the button below, join us in the Skool Games. I take calls every Monday, hop on and be sure to let me know you're new. I'll see you on the other side.